Welcome, friend. Today, I'm breaking down Reborn Ranker Gravity User. The chapter opens with a flashback. 15 years ago, everything changed. Portals tore open across the world, and through them came monsters from another dimension. But alongside the horror came something strange. Humans started manifesting game-like abilities, levels, skills, combat classes. The people who fought back became known as adventurers, and the strongest of them could choose their own class to specialize in. This is the world Ikoma grew up in. And the class he picked? Thief. We see Ikoma as a young guy, bright-eyed, picking up his first dagger and diving into the adventurer life. He joined a guild called the Swords of Glory, and over the years he clawed his way up to S-class rank. That's elite. That's supposed to mean something. But the thief class has a problem. It peaked early. The speed-based combat style that made thieves dangerous in the early Portal days just couldn't keep up with how strong monsters were getting. And Ikoma's own guild leader, this brown-haired guy in armor, says it to his face. The days when the thief class was strong are over. So Ikoma compensated. He volunteered to draw aggro, to take hits nobody else wanted to take. He put his body on the line every single fight, eating damage so his teammates could deal it. A dagger user playing the role of a human shield, and his reward for all of that? They kicked him out. The next sequence is hard to watch. We see Ikoma alone in a dark apartment, shirtless, body covered in scars from years of taking damage for a team that didn't want him. He's surrounded by empty bottles and crushed cans, smoking, broke. No money, no guild, no purpose. He reflects on everything, how he risked his life over and over, and in the end, he just got thrown away. The cigarette drops. The moment hangs there, but then the sky outside changes. A massive portal rips open over the city, and what comes through is something terrifying. This enormous golden creature with ornate wings and circular patterns radiating behind it like a divine halo. Red eyes. The thing looks like an angel designed to end civilizations. The problem. The Swords of Glory, Ikoma's old guild, the strongest in the region, are deployed overseas in China. There's no adventurer in the area with the strength to handle this thing. The city is defenseless, and Ikoma, sitting there with nothing left, looks at the sky through his apartment window and says, "A perfect day for my retirement ceremony." He grabs his gear. He's going. Ikoma charges into battle against this golden monstrosity, alone. He calls the thing Kronos, and he talks to it, tells it to look at the beautiful blue sky. He knows this is a suicide mission. He's not trying to win. He just wants to go out fighting, and the fight is brutal. Kronos is faster than he expected. The panels are full of blood, impact lines, slashing claws. Ikoma is getting torn apart, but then, mid-combat, broken and bleeding, he activates his thief skill. The one everyone said was useless. The grappling hook steel ability, unique to his class. And it connects. What he pulls from Kronos is a golden pocket watch. The item description reads, "The broken clock of the time god, mythic grade. It can rewind time up to 10 years. If used, it disappears from all timelines." Ikoma has never even heard of a mythic grade item. Nobody has. And he just stole one from a god. He's dying. Sitting in a pool of his own blood, the watch clutched in his hand, Kronos looming over him for the killing blow. He screams that he doesn't have time. He activates the watch. Light swallows everything. When he opens his eyes, he's in a room. A younger body. He grabs a phone. The calendar reads September 2030. 10 years in the past. He looks down at his hands, clenches his fist, and with this quiet, steady grin he says, "Good, then I'll do it. No more thief class." So Ikoma just confirmed it. He's really 10 years in the past. And while politicians on TV are still having polite debates about whether ordinary people should even be allowed near portals, our guy is sitting there with a smirk because he already knows exactly how ugly things are about to get. The monsters are getting stronger every year. Casualties are climbing, and the world hasn't figured out yet just how bad it's going to be. But Ikoma has, and he's got a plan. See, Ikoma understands something nobody else does right now. Knowing the future, what items drop where, how to farm experience efficiently, which skills actually matter, that's an insane advantage. But none of it matters unless he gets a class first. And to get a class, he needs to hit level 10. So he heads straight to a low-level portal, an F-rank goblin nest, the kind of dungeon that classless beginners can just walk into. It's guarded by a guild, but nobody's bothering to clear it. Perfect grinding spot. He steps inside, sword in hand, and immediately starts cutting through goblins. And that's when he runs into this big, loud, overly friendly dude, Ohara Kenji, level 16 longsword user. The guy calls himself the tutorial dude because he hangs around this beginner dungeon protecting newbies. Apparently, his company went under when the portals first appeared, so he reinvented himself as a dungeon guide. Honestly, wholesome guy. Annoying but wholesome, Ikoma sighs and just goes along with it. Kenji sticks to him like glue, chatting non-stop while they clear mobs together. And before long, boom, level 10. Ikoma levels up from 9, gains 2 skill points, and now the real game begins. Genji gets all excited, tells Ikoma he can finally pick a class. He starts throwing out recommendations, longsword user, obviously, because that's what Kenji is. Or maybe thief, since Ikoma fights with a precise technical style. Kenji's being genuinely helpful here, but then he looks at Ikoma's skill screen and freezes. Ikoma hasn't learned a single normal skill. No haste, no strength. The 2 abilities that literally everyone picks up because they're considered essential. Instead, this absolute madman has dumped every single skill point he's ever earned into fall resistance. 5 SP for level 1, 10 more for level 2, 15 more for level 3. All 30 points gone. Into a passive skill that reduces fall damage and gravity magic damage. Kenji is losing his mind. He's grabbing his head, screaming, practically begging Ikoma to explain himself. Because with those skill allocations, Ikoma's class options have been gutted. He can only pick between swordsman and villager. That's it. His adventuring career looks dead on arrival. But Ikoma just looks at the screen, calm as ever, and says, "No, this is good," because there on the selection screen, underneath villager and swordsman, is a third option that Kenji has never seen before. Gravity user Ikoma taps it without hesitating. The system confirms it, class selected. He instantly gains gravity magic and gravity manipulation. Kenji is freaking out, yelling that it's a magic class, that magic users are fragile, that their death rate in combat is way too high, that Ikoma should have gone swordsman. He practically tells Ikoma to quit being an adventurer altogether, since everyone right now believes close-range classes are the strongest. But Ikoma knows something. Kenji doesn't. This hidden class, gravity user, only appears if you pour all your early skill points into fall resistance. The requirements are so specific that nobody discovered it until much later in the original timeline. And even after people found it, nobody bothered with it because it seemed impossibly hard to use. There was zero research on it even a decade from now, but Ikoma was S rank. He knows the truth. Gravity user is the strongest class in the game. Period. He clenches his fist, grinning. This is the magic class he's been waiting for. This time, he's aiming for the absolute top. And then, right on cue, a scream echoes through the dungeon. A red cap appears. Level 17. A rare monster that has no business showing up in a beginner zone. Kenji's face goes pale. There are only level 10 newbies down here. He tells Ikoma to run and charges in to buy everyone time. Ikoma is staring down a red cap, a goblin-type monster way above his pay grade, and every single adventurer around him has already written off the guy fighting it. Ohara-san, the veteran warrior clashing blades with this thing, is getting tossed around like a rag doll. Nobody's stepping in. Nobody's confident enough to face a monster above level 15. And Ikoma? He's a magic class user. Low stats. Fragile body. One clean hit and he's done. So what does he do? He walks straight into the fight anyway. So here's the situation. Ohara-san, this older fighter who's been kind to Ikoma since he arrived, is locked in a brutal exchange with a red cap. Now, on paper, Ohara should handle this. His level's high enough. But the narrator in Ikoma's head lays it out pretty clearly. Ohara doesn't have real combat experience against enemies on his level. He's stiff. He's reacting late. And this red cap is fast, terrifyingly fast. One mistake and it's over. The other adventurers are watching from the sidelines. Someone mutters that the person fighting is level 16. Another says the goblin is too quick. You slip up once, you're dead. And they just stand there. Ikoma's doing the math in his head. He knows he shouldn't fight this thing. His class is Gravity User, a magic type. His physical stats are garbage. He can't even track the red cap's movements properly. If he takes a single blow, that's game over for him. But then he looks at Ohara getting pummeled, and something clicks. He can't just leave. Not this guy. Not someone who checked on him when nobody else cared. So Ikoma makes a decision that shocks everyone. He charges in. And Ohara immediately panics, screaming at him to stop. Magic class users are weak to physical attacks. With the level gap between them, Ikoma should die in seconds. But here's where things get wild. Ikoma hasn't even looked at his skills yet. He's been sitting on the Gravity User toolkit without testing any of it. And right now, backed into a corner against something that should kill him, he decides this is the moment. He activates gravity manipulation. And suddenly everything changes. See, the whole weakness of magic classes is that they've got no physical power. They need teammates to cover them. But the Gravity User class breaks that rule completely. By burning MP, Ikoma can temporarily boost his own physical abilities. He reduces the gravity pulling on his body, and his speed just explodes. The red cap swings, and Ikoma's already gone. He's reading its movements, dodging attacks that were invisible to him 30 seconds ago. The monster's pattern is simple, predictable, and now that Ikoma can actually keep up, it's not a threat anymore. He fires off Gravity Moiety to close the distance, then Gravity Magic to set up the attack. Then he locks the creature down with Gravity Binding, purple chains wrapping around it, pinning it in place. Ohara sees the opening, screams a battle cry, and buries his weapon into the red cap. The system notification pops up, 28 experience points. Ikoma jumps from level 10 straight to 12. 4 skill points earned, everyone's jaws are on the floor. The bystanders can't process what they just saw. A lower-level magic user just dominated one of the fastest monsters in this dungeon. One guy stutters out, "Was that newbie even real?" Ikoma's standing there, drained, his MP completely empty, armor cracking apart. And he's grinning, because now he knows. The Gravity User class isn't some throwaway pick. It's a monster of a class, as long as you have the mana to fuel it. Ohara, battered and barely standing, asks Ikoma to carry him out. It's a little embarrassing, he admits, but Ikoma hoists him onto his back without hesitation. And as they walk past the crowd of adventurers who did nothing, Ohara says something quietly. He thanks Ikoma, not just for the rescue, but for giving him courage. He'd always been afraid, always played it safe hunting weak monsters. But watching Ikoma charge in changed something. He calls Ikoma a future hero. And for the first time, this tutorial dude might finally be ready to graduate. Ikoma just proved the Gravity User class is the real deal. But he burned through every drop of MP in a single fight against one monster. Managing that mana is going to be everything going forward. So Ichino's just finished inspecting his Gravity User skill. He's feeling confident, and he walks into the Adventurer Guild ready to level up. One problem, nobody wants him. Not a single party. And the one guy who does show up, he's about to make Ichino's life a whole lot harder. Ichino's heads to the guild counter to find a temporary party he can join. He knows solo grinding is risky, so teaming up is the smart move. But the receptionist behind the desk just stares at his profile and hesitates. She's never even heard of a Gravity User before. She pulls up his stats, and her face says it all. It looks like some kind of magic class, but his numbers are terrible. She's genuinely wondering whether someone can even fight properly with a class like that. Ichinose asks her straight up, "Is there any party recruiting temporary members?" And she does find one. There's a group that doesn't care about level or class. But even she warns him, with stats this low and a magic-type class nobody recognizes, the party probably won't be thrilled. Ichinose tells her to just make the introduction. He'll handle the rest. And that's when things get loud. This blonde guy in blue armor comes strolling in like he owns the place. The receptionist doesn't even recognize him, and he acts personally offended. Turns out this is Utsunomiya Sho, leader of a rising party called the Thunder Knights. He takes one look at Ichinose and immediately starts running his mouth. Magic classes are useless in combat, he says. They're for cowards who won't get close to monsters. He tells Ichinose he should be embarrassed for not researching his own class before becoming an adventurer, and then, just to really drive the point home, Sho unsheathes his sword and fires off a lightning strike right there in the guild lobby. The whole room shakes. Electricity crackles everywhere. People are losing their minds because his class, Thunder Knight, is apparently one of the best rare classes in the game. High stats, powerful skills, easy to use. Sho stands there soaking it all in, smirking, telling Ichinose that even though they both have rare classes, they're on completely different levels. The crowd eats it up. Background chatter starts going. Magic classes are trash. Thunder Knight is incredible. You can supposedly get rare classes by randomly distributing stat points at the start. Meanwhile, Ichinose is just standing there quiet. The receptionist tries to apologize, saying Sho didn't need to go that far. But Ichinose just shakes his head. He tells her he didn't think things through, and he'll work alone for now. Sho throws one last jab on his way out, laughing, telling Ichinose to quit being an adventurer entirely before he gets himself killed. Ichinose walks away, waves without turning around, and just says thanks for the advice. Cold, but here's the thing, he's not discouraged. He's recalibrating. Inside his head, he's thinking back to how things worked in his past life. Flashy skills and high stats mattered early on. People judged you by what looked strong on paper. He'd forgotten that. So instead of begging for a party, he shifts his entire strategy. He heads straight to the guild's reference room and starts researching. He needs a dungeon he can solo, something with slow enemies, where his gravity powers actually have an edge. He lands on a preserved portal called the Stone Statue Temple, recommended level 25. It's a maintained dungeon full of knight statues, slow, predictable, perfect for a beginner grinding alone. His current level is only 12, but he figures the early floors are manageable. He slams the book shut. Decision made. Cut to the dungeon entrance, the Stone Statue Temple. Ichinose walks in alone, but he's not the only one there. Some other adventurer is already inside, running for his life, screaming that nobody warned him. So real quick for anyone just jumping in, Ikoma is a time traveler. In his first life, he hit S rank as a thief class, watched the world fall apart, and used a stolen item to rewind everything. Now he's back, running a completely different build, gravity user, a hidden class nobody else knows about. He's been leveling fast, but on paper, he's still just a level 12 adventurer. And this chapter, he decides that's enough to solo one of the nastiest dungeons around. Koma walks into the portal registration office and fills out the paperwork for the Stone Statue Temple. The receptionist, this short-haired woman behind the desk, takes one look at his level and practically jumps out of her chair. Level 12, solo entry. Into a dungeon with a recommended level of 25. She tells him flat out, "You're going to die in there." The portals are unpredictable. Monsters can show up way beyond what anyone expects. She's genuinely worried for him, and Ikoma. He just gives her this calm look and asks if there's any rule against it. She admits there isn't, but she's still trying to talk him out of it. He grabs his form, flashes a small grin, and says he'll just take a quick peek inside. He'll be back soon. The way he says it is so casual, like he's running to a convenience store, not stepping into a death trap. The receptionist is left standing there, calling after him, totally helpless. The scene goes dark. Ikoma steps through the portal, this swirling purple vortex, and emerges into the stone statue temple. The atmosphere shifts completely. It's this ancient, dimly lit dungeon, lined with enormous stone warrior statues, towering over him from their pedestals. The air feels heavy. Everything is still, and then it isn't. The statues start to move. Stone cracks and groans as these armored knight statues pull themselves off their platforms, weapons in hand. They're big, they're sturdy, and there are a lot of them. Ikoma doesn't panic. He's already read the room. These are the enemies he expected. He darts forward, testing the waters. The knight statues swing at him, and he weaves through their attacks. His first strikes land, and he immediately clocks the problem. These things are tanky. Regular hits aren't doing enough damage, so he pulls out the gravity. He activates double gravity, and you can see this purple energy ripple outward from his hands. The effect is immediate. The stone knight staggers under the sudden force, its legs buckling, its movements slowing to a crawl. Ikoma closes in and hammers it while it's pinned under its own way. The statue cracks apart under the pressure. Then the next one. Then the next. He's tearing through the dungeon like a wrecking ball in a pottery shop. The stone knights that are supposed to challenge groups of level 25 adventurers are folding to a solo level 12 with gravity magic. After clearing a wave, a system notification pops up. Level 12 jumps to level 16, 4 whole levels in one run. 8 fresh skill points in his pocket. Ikoma's reaction is almost funny. He just goes, "Oh, that's a decent jump," like it's no big deal. He immediately starts allocating points. He pumps his gravity magic from level 1 to level 2, and this is where things get interesting. The upgraded skill doesn't just let him increase the weight of gravity on a target anymore. Now he can manipulate the direction of gravity too. Push things sideways. Pull them upward. He's basically turning his already broken ability into full 3-dimensional gravity control. He gets this satisfied smirk and notes how useful the upgrade will be. Classic Ikoma, understated confidence. He picks up proof that he beat the knight statue and checks his MP. Still plenty left in the tank. Any sane person would leave, cash in the rewards and call it a day. But Ikoma decides to push deeper into the temple. That's when the ground starts shaking. Lightning crackles through the darkness. And from the back of the temple, something massive begins to rise. A stone statue boss, easily 3 or 4 times the size of the knights he's been fighting. This thing radiates power, electricity arcing across its body. The chapter cuts away from Ikoma here and introduces a whole new group. A party of adventurers, led by a blonde-haired guy named Utsunomiya. His crew is also in the stone statue temple, and they're clearly experienced. Someone in his party complains that maintained portals aren't great for leveling up. Utsunomiya shrugs it off. Then they run into the stone statues, and the party gets a front-row seat to why Utsunomiya leads this team. He smashes a sturdy stone knight in a single hit. His teammates are impressed but not surprised. They call him out by name, praising the one-shot. Then things get darker. Someone on his team is on the ground, bloodied. Utsunomiya stands over them with this cold look and says he's realized something for a while now. His group, the Thunder Knights, are much stronger than regular adventurers at the same level. There's an edge to the way he says it, an arrogance. The chapter closes with the Thunder Knights encountering their own massive stone statue boss. Utsunomiya sizes it up unfazed and declares they'll finish it off quickly. So this chapter kicks off mid-fight. Utsunomiya and his 2 party members are squaring off against a knight statue deep in the dungeon. His teammates are already nervous. One of them asks if this is really going to be okay, and the other tries to laugh it off, pointing out they've got a 3-on-1 advantage. Utsunomiya pulls his sword and charges in looking confident. He reads the enemy pretty quickly, calls it just a knight statue, says the movements are slow and predictable. And at first, he's right. He's landing clean hits, dodging swings, moving like someone who's done this 100 times. But then he notices something off. This thing is faster than it should be. There's a real gap between their levels that he can actually feel. in the exchanges. His sword connects, and the statue barely flinches. He smirks through it, says something about it being sturdier than the usual ones. But you can tell the cockiness is starting to crack. Then the statue retaliates, hard. It catches Utsunomiya with a massive hit that sends him flying. He scrambles, switches to defense, calls out that this thing's strength is seriously troublesome, and decides to pull back, too late. The statue goes on a rampage. It smashes through the whole party. Karen takes a brutal hit and drops. The other teammate goes down right after. Utsunomiya watches them fall and completely panics, screaming their names, losing his composure. He ends up pinned on the ground, crawling, blood everywhere. And this is where it gets rough. He's literally pleading, "Stop, please let me go, I'm not supposed to die here." Full desperation, the knight statue looms over him, raising its weapon, and Utsunomiya can't do anything but scream. Then purple light tears across the floor. A gravity wave slams into the statue and knocks it sideways. Utsunomiya looks up, confused, terrified, and sees someone he barely recognizes standing there with a glowing blade. It's Ikoma, Ichino Ikoma, the new guild member everyone's been side-eyeing for his strange class. Utsunomiya can't even process it. He blurts out, "Wait, you're that low-level newbie with the weird magic class. How can you fight that thing?" Ikoma doesn't answer him. He's already analyzing. The status windows flash. Ikoma is level 16. The knight statue is level 30. And it's not just any statue. It's a unique monster, one that's been devouring both adventurers and other monsters to power itself up way beyond what it should be. Ikoma fires off gravity moiety, his signature move, and it connects, but the damage is basically nothing. He notes calmly that it wasn't very effective, as expected. The statue's defensive power is insane compared to a normal version, and with a 14-level gap on top of that, his attacks just aren't getting through. But here's what separates Ikoma from everyone else in that room. He doesn't panic. He reads the situation like a textbook. The statue isn't too fast for its level, so he can keep up using gravity manipulation. Speed isn't the problem. The problem is raw damage output and the MP drain from keeping his abilities running constantly. He knows he's on a timer. Gravity manipulation eats through his mana fast, and he flat out admits this won't last long. So he makes a decision. No drawn-out war of attrition. He grips his sword, gravity energy spiraling around the blade until it's practically screaming with purple light, and says, "I'll have to take a gamble. I need to finish this quickly." We pick up right where Chapter 6 left off, inside the dungeon mid-fight, and things are ugly. The knight statue is tanking everything Ikoma throws at it. We're talking slash after slash. Gravity pulses slamming into its body, and the thing barely flinches. Ikoma's companion, the blonde swordsman who's been watching from the sidelines, is losing faith fast. He admits out loud that he thought maybe Ikoma could pull this off, but the damage just isn't there, and Ikoma knows it too. He's running the math in his head. Gravity moiety eats through his mana like crazy, and every second this fight drags on, the gap between him and this monster gets wider. He can't win a war of attrition. He needs to end this now. So he makes a call. He reverses the gravity on his own body. Just straight up inverts it. His feet leave the ground, and he launches toward the ceiling, flying upward past the knight statue's head. The blonde guy is watching this happen, completely confused. He can see how light Ikoma's body has become, and starts wondering if it's some kind of class skill. Then Ikoma flips midair, stares down at the monster below him, and stacks his abilities. He hits it with double gravity, cranking the pull on the knight statue so it can barely move. And then he drops. Sword first, full speed. All the force of reversed gravity accelerating him downward, combined with the crushing weight he's dumping onto his target. He calls it Meteor Slash. The impact is enormous. Purple energy tears through the dungeon floor. The knight statue crumbles, and Ikoma lands in the wreckage, coat still settling, sword still in hand. Somehow, his word, not mine, he won, and the payoff is massive. Because he just soloed a monster nearly double his level, the experience floods in and his level skyrockets. He sheathes his sword, collects himself, and goes to check on the blonde companion. Helps him to his feet. The blonde guy is rattled, partly from the fight, partly because he can't figure Ikoma out. He'd embarrassed Ikoma in front of the whole guild before this dungeon run, and Ikoma still came back and saved his life. He mutters a quiet thanks. Ikoma just tells him it was a close one. Scene shifts. They're back at the Adventurers Guild. Ikoma walks up to the counter and drops a glowing red magic crystal on the desk. The receptionist takes one look at it and nearly loses it. A level 30 knight statue crystal. From a solo newbie adventurer. She can barely process it. Ikoma just nods like it's Tuesday. She offers to buy the crystal. Estimates it's worth around 240,000 yen. But Ikoma turns her down. He's keeping it. Then the blonde swordsman catches up to Ikoma outside the guild. He's all smiles now, says he's been looking for him. He thanks Ikoma properly this time, and then drops what he clearly thinks is an incredible offer, a spot in the Thunder Knights party. He's practically glowing with pride about it, like he's handing Ikoma a golden ticket. Ikoma looks him dead in the eye and says, "No." The blonde guy is stunned. He stammers, "Weren't you looking for a party?" But Ikoma has already turned and started walking away, because Ikoma's mind is somewhere else entirely. Ikoma strolls into the guild and drops a pile of magic stones onto the counter. The receptionist, who's been watching him come and go, is already wide-eyed. He's hunting at volumes that shouldn't be possible for a solo player. But then Ikoma takes it further. He asks her to prepare his promotion documents. He wants to move up to D rank. She hesitates. You need to be at least level 25 for that. But Ikoma puts his hand on the scanner and the display reads out, level 23 to 26. 3 levels gained since his last visit. The receptionist is stunned. For a solo mage class, she says, that kind of growth speed is unheard of. As Ikoma walks out of the guild with his new D-rank certificate, he lets his mind wander. Sure, the gravity user class is strong, but what's really carrying him is the experience from his past life. 10 years of future knowledge packed into a body that's starting from scratch. And he knows he can't afford to slow down. See, D-rank is a big deal. It opens the door to way more portals. Orc Nest, Spirit's Forest, Lizard Shrine, all D-rank and above. But Ikoma's eyes are fixed on one in particular, the Crazy Dream Theater. It's appearing in just a few days, and inside it is a famous, unique weapon. Here's why that matters. In Ikoma's previous life, the adventurer who got that weapon had their power spike overnight. And instead of using it to protect people, they became a portal criminal. Someone who hunted and killed other adventurers inside portals. Ikoma watched it happen before. He's not going to let it happen again. So the plan is clear. Get into the Crazy Dream Theater, reach the boss, and secure that weapon before the wrong person does. But there's a problem. Even Ikoma knows he can't do this one solo. He needs a partner, not a full squad. Too many people would get in the way. Just one person. A pair party. And the requirements are specific. Someone whose class synergizes with gravity user. Someone who fits the Crazy Dream Theater specifically. And someone who respects what he's accomplished alone. He spends the next half-day visiting guild after guild, checking rosters, scanning profiles. 4 different guilds. Nobody fits. He's starting to think he might have to lower his standards. And then, in the 4th guild, he walks into something ugly. A group of adventurers is crowded around this girl with pale blue hair. Her name is Satsuki. She's a shaman class, and her party is ripping into her. The leader, a loud blonde girl, is calling her useless, saying her curse skills are weak, her efficiency is too low. She lists out Satsuki's abilities, Paragoria, Behind You Reverse, and trashes every single one. Calls the whole shaman class gloomy, futureless, a waste of a class pick. Then she fires Satsuki on the spot and even demands payment for having tolerated her. Satsuki just stands there. She mumbles that she'll do better. But nobody's listening. Ikoma sees all of this. And at first he walks past. His internal logic is cold. He can't pick a teammate based on feelings. Not when his life is on the line. He's a reborn S-rank. He has to be strategic, but then one word cuts through the noise. Shaman. He stops, because Ikoma, with 10 years of future knowledge, knows something nobody in that room does. The shaman class isn't trash. The shaman's curse abilities are a perfect complement to the gravity user's weaknesses. And more than that, the shaman class is specifically effective against the boss of the Crazy Dream Theater. He turns around. He walks back into the middle of that group. He grabs Satsuki's hand and pulls her away from her old party. The blonde is confused. Everyone's staring. Ikoma flashes his adventurer certificate, D rank, gravity user, level 26, and says he came to this guild looking for a party member. Then he looks Satsuki dead in the eye and asks her to join him. The blonde girl's attitude flips on a dime. A D rank, suddenly she has an opening on her team. She practically throws herself at Ikoma, trying to recruit him instead, but Ikoma isn't interested in her. Satsuki's overwhelmed. She tells him she's grateful, but she's barely level 10. She's gloomy. She'll be a hindrance. She was honestly about to quit being an adventurer altogether, and Ikoma doesn't flinch. He tells her he'll support her. He'll give her the confidence she's missing. Satsuki, tears in her eyes, accepts. She tells him she's useless, but to please take care of her. The blonde scoffs. Shamans are useless, she repeats. Don't come crying when you regret it. And Ikoma, walking away with Satsuki at his side, looks back and delivers one of the coldest lines of the chapter. He thanks her for the advice, but says he probably knows a bit more about how classes work than she does. Ikoma just recruited Satsuki, a shy, underconfident shaman that everyone else has written off. And now, before she's even had time to settle in, he drops a bombshell on her. Forget the safe-maintained portals. He wants to drag them both into an unexplored, level 30 recommended nightmare called the Crazy Dream Theater. She's level 17. He's dead serious. And there's a reason he can't tell her, because the weapon hidden inside that portal. In his past life, it turned a man into one of the most dangerous criminals the Ranker world has ever seen. The chapter opens with Ikoma and Satsuki sitting together after their introduction. She's nervous, fidgeting, barely able to hold eye contact. She admits she's worried about being dead weight. The shaman class is considered garbage by basically everyone. Ikoma doesn't brush that off. Instead, he tells her something real. His own class, a rare magic type, gets mocked too. People don't understand either of them. But he's confident that perception is going to shift in a few years. He's speaking from lived experience, literally. He's already seen the future once. Then he shifts the conversation to business. He tells Satsuki he wants to enter a portal, but not one of the standard, well-documented ones. He's targeting a brand new portal that hasn't even opened yet. He reveals the name, the Crazy Dream Theater. Recommended level 30 and above. Completely unexplored. No information on the monsters, the layout, nothing. Satsuki's face goes pale. She's only level 17. She has a class people call useless. And now this guy she just met wants to charge into uncharted territory with her. She flat out tells him it's impossible, but Ikoma stays calm. He promises he'll take the front line. He'll handle the danger. And then he drops the real confidence bomb. In his previous life, he spent years studying the records of every known portal obsessively. He knows the Crazy Dream Theater inside and out. He tells Satsuki to trust him, and the look on her face says she wants to. She's just scared. He also mentions there's a specific weapon inside that portal he needs to get his hands on. When Satsuki presses him on how he could possibly know a portal is about to appear, he puts a finger to his lips, secret. She's confused. But before she can dig further, an earthquake-like tremor hits the building. Everyone's phones explode with notifications. Emergency alert from the Demon Defense Agency. A new portal has appeared in Tokyo, in the Murakyu district, right next to where they are. Ikoma smirks. He just says good timing. He already knew this was coming. He tells Satsuki they're heading there tomorrow. The portal won't be conquered for at least a week, so they have time. The next day, they arrive at Murakyu. Satsuki is clutching her staff, visibly on edge. But they gear up and walk straight into the crazy dream theater. Inside, it's surreal, a circus-like landscape with star-patterned floors and carnival decorations. Creepy and colorful at the same time. Ikoma lays out the strategy. He tanks the monsters. She supports from the back using her shaman magic. He's especially interested in her mana drain skill. She can steal MP from enemies and funnel it directly to him. That means he can fight indefinitely without running dry. Infinite sustain, the battles start, and Ikoma tears through the monsters using his gravity magic. Double gravity pins creatures to the ground, while Satsuki fires off Shadow Ball from behind. The monsters at this level are nothing to him. Satsuki starts feeling guilty, like she's just leeching experience. But Ikoma shuts that down immediately. He calls them partners. And it clearly hits her. She thinks to herself that this is completely different from how she was treated in Aoi's party before. Here's where the chapter takes a dark turn. Ikoma reveals his internal monologue, the real reason he's racing to clear this portal. In his previous life, the weapon inside the crazy dream theater was claimed by a man named Zaibi Kaoru, and after getting that weapon, Zaibi became one of the worst portal criminals in history. The chapter flashes to a memory of Zaibi. Red hair, red eyes, grinning while standing over another ranker he just stabbed. He used a skill called parry thrust to cut them down, and he leveled up from the kill. Level 36 to 37, he's a player killer who hunts other humans because, in his words, they're easier prey than monsters. He levels up by murdering fellow rankers. Ikoma's goal is clear. Grab that weapon before Zaibi ever gets a chance to touch it. Change the timeline. Stop a monster before he's born. Chapter 10 opens mid-fight. Ikoma activates double gravity and flattens a jack in the box. A level 27 monster, like it's nothing. The thing crumples under the pressure of his ability, and both he and Satsuki get level-ups out of it. Satsuki jumps from level 20 to 22, and Ikoma ticks up from 26 to 27, but Satsuki isn't celebrating. She's standing behind him looking guilty. She tells Ikoma she feels like she's just leeching off him. All she does is fire magic from the back line while he handles everything up front. She even admits he could probably solo these monsters without her. Ikoma shuts that down. He tells her flat out that the shaman class is strong. He's said it before and he means it. These dungeon monsters aren't hard once you learn their attack patterns. He's calm about it, almost casual, and that confidence is doing more for Satsuki's morale than any pep talk could. Then Satsuki brings up a real problem. Their MP is getting dangerously low. Ikoma checks his stats. He's sitting at 16 out of 45 MP. She reminds him that the guild recommends retreating once you've burned through half your mana. And since Ikoma relies on gravity manipulation to boost his body in close combat, running out of MP isn't just inconvenient. It's a death sentence. But Ikoma, he just grins. He tells Satsuki it's time for that. She has no idea what he's talking about, so he shows her. A clown goblin, level 24, comes charging at them, and instead of killing it, Ikoma wrestles it into submission. He pins the thing under his arm and tells Satsuki to use her mana drain skill on it. The idea is genius in the dumbest possible way. Restrain a monster, drain its mana, refill their reserves, keep going. Infinite MP, at least in theory. Satsuki gets it immediately, but she's also mortified. The whole scene looks ridiculous. She even asks Ikoma if he can do something about how it looks, but he shrugs it off. Monsters only get stunned by skill effects, so the goblin can't even fight back. Here's the catch, though. It's not exactly efficient. They restrain the goblin for ages and only squeeze out 9 MP. Satsuki points this out, clearly unimpressed. But Ikoma doesn't care about efficiency per monster. His brain is working on a bigger scale. He tells her they're doing this 6 more times. Satsuki nearly loses it. 6 more rounds of wrestling goblins into mana batteries, but Ikoma's logic is sound. Each fight gives them experience too, and after grinding through those 6 rounds, the results speak for themselves. Satsuki climbs from level 22 to 24, and Ikoma goes from 27 to 28. Their MP is fully recovered, and Satsuki starts to see the potential. If they keep cycling this strategy, they can explore the portal indefinitely without ever needing to retreat. Then they find it. A massive set of doors deep in the dungeon. The boss room. Satsuki freezes. She starts citing the guild handbook again. If you encounter a monster higher level than you, run away, don't challenge it. But Ikoma is already pushing the doors open. He tells her the shaman class has excellent compatibility with this dungeon, and that he plans to conquer the entire portal within 2 days. That hits Satsuki differently. She gets quiet for a moment, then opens up. She mentions a friend named Aoi-chan who was angry with her, probably because of how timid she's always been. Her scared nature held her back, and then she says it. She wants to change. If Ikoma says he needs her power, she'll give everything she's got. She'll do her best. It's a small moment, no big speech, but you can feel the shift in her. She's choosing to stop running. Ikoma grins and tells her exactly what she needs to hear. The strategy to beat the portal boss requires her shaman abilities. She's not a tag-along. She's essential. Right from the jump, Ikoma checks the boss's stats with his ability. The Mad Clown has 122 HP, 71 MP, and an HP restoration passive that heals 12 HP every 60 seconds. So not only is this thing stronger than both of them, it literally regenerates while they fight it. Ikoma immediately understands they cannot brute force this. If they try to out-damage it based on their levels, they lose. Period. So instead of panicking, Ikoma takes the lead. He tells Satsuki to hang back and keep her distance, while he rushes in to pull the clown's attention. He darts forward and drives his dagger straight into the monster. It barely flinches. The clown fires back immediately, charging up a massive fireball right in Ikoma's face. But Ikoma activates gravity moiety, shifting his weight and trajectory mid-air, and just slides out of the blast radius. He's calculating on the fly, 1.5 meters of clearance, enough to keep dodging multiple attacks. Meanwhile, Satsuki isn't just standing around. She channels her magic and fires off Mana Drain, this swirling mass of dark blue energy that latches onto the clown and starts siphoning its MP. The spell wraps around the boss's face, and you can tell the clown does not like that one bit. Here's where it gets intense. The Mad Clown stops messing around. It activates a skill called Gate, basically a teleportation circle, and starts blinking around the arena, launching fireballs from different angles. It's chaos. The clown appears behind Satsuki, and Ikoma screams at her to move, telling her to stay in the middle of the arena so she doesn't get cornered against a wall. She barely dodges a point-blank explosion and starts running. Ikoma throws himself back into the fight, taunting the boss, telling it to focus on him instead. The clown obliges. It uses Gate over and over, warping around the room, hurling fireball after fireball. Ikoma takes a direct hit and gets launched across the floor. He's battered. He's burning. But he gets up because this is part of his plan. See, Ikoma figured it out early. The Mad Clown is completely reliant on skills for all of its attacks. Every fireball, every teleport, it all costs MP, and with Satsuki's mana drain chipping away at its reserves on top of that, it's burning through its mana pool fast. Ikoma was tanking hits and provoking the boss on purpose, forcing it to spam Gate and fireballs until there was nothing left in the tank. And then the moment comes. The clown extends its hands to activate Gate again, and the magic circle fizzles out. Nothing happens. The mana is gone. Ikoma, still lying on the ground from the last hit, smirks. He says it out loud, blasting off fireballs and teleporting at the same time drains an enormous amount of MP, and now the clown has 0 left. No fireballs, no teleporting, no tricks. Just a big, dumb monster with no tools left to fight with. Ikoma stands up, wreathed in purple gravity energy, dagger in hand. He looks completely calm. Then he launches himself at the defenseless boss. Satsuki follows up with another mana drain to make sure it stays empty, and Ikoma goes to work, slashing, gravity slamming, and driving his blade into the clown over and over. The boss tries to swing at him physically, but without its skills, it can't keep up. One final gravity-enhanced strike from above, and the mad clown collapses. A system notification pops up, 1043 EXP earned. Ikoma jumps 3 whole levels, from 27 straight to 30, and picks up 6 skill points. He just shrugs it off like it's Tuesday. Not bad. The chapter picks up right where we left off. Ikoma's holding the boss drop, the crown blade, C rank plus 11 attack power. His party member takes one look at the stats and seems a little underwhelmed. A C rank from a boss? That's it. But Ikoma shuts that down immediately. He tells her the rank and attack power are just bonuses. What matters are the effects, faster skill deployment and reduced MP cost. For a gravity user specifically, that's massive, because gravity skills have a critical weakness. There's a gap every time you switch between them in combat. Enemies can exploit that opening. The crown blade closes it. Ikoma gets serious for a second and explains this weapon is a balance breaker. It patches up the MP drain and the back-to-back skill issues that hold gravity users back. With this thing equipped, his biggest vulnerabilities are covered. Then he drops a bit of lore from his past life. The guy who originally owned this weapon, he rode it all the way to A rank. But that guy was also a known criminal, an adventurer killer. So by snatching this weapon first, Ikoma's killed 2 birds with 1 stone. He powered himself up, and he kept a dangerous weapon out of dangerous hands. Now, here's a great character beat. The girl, his party member, goes quiet after hearing all this. You can see the gears turning. If this weapon covers Ikoma's weaknesses during combat, that was her job. She was the one supporting him, filling those gaps. She looks up at him, panicked, and asks if he's going to drop her from the party now. Ikoma, clearly not reading the room, just calmly tells her that even with the weapon, his MP still burns through fast. He'd like to keep partying with her going forward. She stammers out that she's glad, and then internally declares the crown blade her rival. Meanwhile, Ikoma just stands there with a question mark over his head. The guy has zero idea what just happened. It's a funny moment that breaks up the tension perfectly. With the boss cleared and experience banked, Ikoma takes a moment to invest his skill points. He's thinking strategically here. If he wants to reach the top, he can't spread himself thin. No jack-of-all-trades approach. Everything goes into gravity skills. He dumps 10 SP into gravity magic, pushing it to level 2, and another 15 into gravity manipulation, bringing that up to level 3. He notes that he was already heavily reliant on gravity manipulation in his previous life, so doubling down on it now makes sense. And then the mood shifts completely. Right as Ikoma and his partner are wrapping up, a red-haired guy strolls into the boss room, clapping, casual, smiling, tells them they already conquered the dungeon, Compliments Ikoma's strength. Ikoma freezes. He recognizes this guy instantly. Zaib Kaoru, the original owner of the crown blade from his previous timeline. The adventurer killer. Ikoma's mind starts racing. The timing is too perfect. This guy didn't just stumble in here. He was hiding the whole time, using a concealment skill to mask his presence. He watched the boss fight from the shadows, probably expecting Ikoma and his partner to lose. When they won instead, he showed up to take the spoils. This was exactly how Zabi operated in the previous timeline. Wait for adventurers to exhaust themselves against the boss, then ambush them when they were weak and steal the drops. Zaibe casually asks if he can take a look at the weapon, and Ikoma, with a smile, says sure. He pulls out the crown blade and holds it up. Zaibe can't believe it. He's internally calling Ikoma an idiot. No vigilance at all. His plan is simple. Kill the guy in one strike, take the blade, and then deal with the girl however he wants. But the second Zaibe moves, Ikoma is already there. He fires off a parry thrust and catches Zaib mid-attack. The ambush completely backfired. Ikoma curses under his breath because his counter-strike missed the mark. Zybe is fast, faster than he expected. But the message is clear. Ikoma knew this attack was coming. He baited it. Zybe is genuinely thrown off. He asks how Ikoma knew. Ikoma tells him to pay more attention to what's beneath his feet. A taunt that says, "I see everything you're doing." Zybe takes a step back and reassesses. He's actually impressed now. He tells Ikoma he thinks with his head and has guts. Then his expression twists into something darker. He says he wants to see Ikoma choking on his own blood and dying in shame, and he charges. The final panel is a split shot. Zybe lunging forward with his dagger, teeth bared, and Ikoma's eye burning with focus, ready for what comes next. Ikoma recognizes him immediately. Not from this life, from his past one. In the previous timeline, Zybe Kaoru carved a reputation as one of the most dangerous player killers around. He was the original wielder of the crown blade, a weapon practically dripping with the blood of adventurers. And Ikoma knows all of this because he's already lived through it. So the moment Satsuki tries to step forward, calling out to Ikoma in concern, he shuts that down fast. He tells her to stay back, no questions. Because Ikoma has done the math in his head, and none of it looks good. Zybe is an assassin class. Assassins live and die by speed and burst damage. For a backline class like Satsuki's shaman build, getting anywhere near this guy is a death sentence. His class hard counters hers, his level is higher, and he's got way more combat experience. But Ikoma steps up anyway. He tells Satsuki he'll handle this himself, and you can see it in his expression. This is a fight he knows he probably shouldn't win. Zybe is higher level, more experienced, and has already killed real people. That psychological edge is something Ikoma hasn't dealt with in this new life yet. The fight kicks off, and Ikoma activates gravity moiety, his gravity skill, slamming the area with crushing force. Zybe dodges, looking almost amused. He compliments Ikoma's swordsmanship, but then throws a taunt that cuts deeper than any blade. He asks Ikoma if he's ever actually taken a life before. And then he grins and says he's already killed plenty, and that gap in killing intent gives him the edge. But here's where it gets good. Despite the level gap, despite the experience gap, Ikoma starts pressuring Zybe. He uses double gravity to increase the weight on Zybe's movements, strategically targeting his blind spots, going after his arms and weak points. And the whole time, he's reading Zybe's attack patterns with his gravity manipulation. He can sense the shifts in force and momentum. Zybe fires off his skill, Poison Needle, a barrage of lethal projectiles, and Ikoma blocks them on the first attempt, on pure reaction and battle sense from his previous life's knowledge. Zybe can't believe it. He's screaming internally. How is a lower-level player reading him like an open book? Satsuki is watching all of this unfold, and she's stunned. She can see it clearly now. Ikoma is crazy strong. He's not some normal adventurer she randomly teamed up with. This guy fights on a completely different level of tactical awareness, but the fight isn't clean. Ikoma lands a solid hit. His blade finds Zybe's body and blood sprays everywhere. Zybe howls in pain, furious that he's being pushed back by someone below his rank. Meanwhile, Ikoma's MP bar is ticking dangerously low, down to 8 out of 51. His gravity skills eat through mana fast. And once he runs dry, he's fighting without his biggest advantage, and Ikoma knows it. He's running the numbers in real time. He can track Zybe's movements. He can counter his skills. He refuses to let the fact that he hasn't killed in this life hold him back. But MP is the ticking clock. If he runs out before finishing this, Zybe, battered and bleeding, starts to crack under the pressure. He can't understand why he's losing ground. But even wounded, this guy is dangerous. He grins through the blood, asks himself if he's been rushing things, and then delivers a chilling promise. He acknowledges Ikoma could be called a hero someday, if he survives. And then he snarls that he'll never get that chance. The opening of this fight is chaos. Zybe is laughing, swinging wild, shouting about how killing each other is what makes combat beautiful. He's that kind of villain, not scheming, not calculated, just pure bloodlust on legs. And Ikoma, he's reading every move. He's calm in the middle of the storm. Zaibe is all force, no finesse, and Ikoma is slipping past each attack, dodging clean. But here's the problem. Ikoma can dodge all day, but he can't hit back. He's burned through almost everything fighting the boss. His MP tank is basically on fumes, and Zaibe can feel it. He starts taunting, telling Ikoma he's almost at his limit. Ikoma, to his credit, doesn't deny it. He just thinks, yeah, I know. Then Zaibe catches him, sends Ikoma flying midair, and for a second it looks bad. But Ikoma pulls something wild. He cranks his gravity magic to tenfold, while still airborne, turns himself into a human missile, and pours every last drop of MP into one devastating strike. The impact is massive. Even Zaibe is shocked at the raw force behind it. Satsuki sees the dust settle, and her eyes light up. She thinks Ikoma won. And honestly, so did I for a second. But then Zaibe stands back up, battered, bleeding, clothes torn apart, and still smiling. He starts mocking Ikoma for fighting on empty just to protect that little miss. He calls Satsuki a hindrance, right to her face. And you can see the guilt hit her instantly. Ikoma turns to Satsuki and just says, sorry. He tells her to run. Get out of here while she can. But Satsuki doesn't move. She's remembering advice from someone named Aoi, something she should have followed earlier. And right there, something shifts inside her. She looks up with tears in her eyes and says, I won't run, because the person who told her she could accomplish things, that person is right here, fighting to protect her. She's not about to abandon him. So she grips her staff, channels everything she has, and casts Mana Drain in reverse, an MP transfer pouring her own magical energy directly into Ikoma. His eyes snap open. Power floods back through him. And he says it quiet, almost under his breath. Thanks, Satsuki. You saved me. Zaibe is furious. Calls it cowardly. But Ikoma just faces him down with Satsuki at his back and breaks it down cold. You're the one who's dying here. And I just got my MP back. Then he calls out Zaibe's full name. Zaibe Kaoru, like he's signing a receipt for what's about to happen. He draws his sword, gravity energy swirling around the blade, and unleashes it. Gravity magic, Gurante. The attack rips forward. And Zaibe, for the first time in this whole fight, feels actual fear. His eyes go wide. His body won't move fast enough. One thought flashes through his mind, I won't make it impact. The whole panel explodes. The serial adventurer killer, this red-haired maniac who's been hunting people inside portals, is done. Finished. Ikoma is standing over him, sword in hand, gravity aura still crackling around him in that signature purple glow, and the killer mutters something that tells you everything about this fight. He says he can't wrap his head around losing to someone at a lower level, but Ikoma sees right through it. The difference between them was never stats or numbers. It was combat experience. Ikoma has lived through things this guy can't even imagine. The sheer number of life-or-death battles they've each survived. It's not even close. Satsuki shows up on the scene too, keeping watch on the beaten killer. Ikoma turns to Aoi, our silver-haired healer, and calmly tells her to go contact the Demon Defense Agency outside the portal. Since the boss is dead, the monsters are cleared out. She can make it on her own, and off she goes, cut to the outside world. The news breaks. Serial adventurer killer has been caught. The red-haired guy's face is all over the headlines, bandaged up and in custody. Ikoma is scrolling through his phone, reading the article, and he quietly thinks to himself that they managed to get through it safely. No big celebration. No victory speech. That's what's cool about Ikoma. He just moves on. Next we find Ikoma and Aoi sitting across from each other at a cafe. Aoi is surprised. She expected way more questioning from the Demon Defense Agency after everything that happened. Ikoma breaks it down for her. Portal crimes are messy. There's basically no oversight inside those places. Unless the culprit is caught red-handed, the agency tends to drop investigations entirely. He reflects on how the government leaned into authoritarianism as portals destabilized society, but even with all that power, they still can't police what happens on the other side. Portals are lawless territory, always have been. It's a grim bit of world building, but Ikoma says it with the calm confidence of someone who's already seen how this world falls apart in the future. Then the mood shifts. Aoi gets honest. She admits that running into a serial killer inside a portal shook her. But she turns it around. She looks at Ikoma and tells him he saved her life. She says she wants to try her best going forward. She starts rambling, admitting she's bad at getting to the point, that even her old friend Aoi-chan used to get annoyed by how much she talks. She's developed a whole complex about it. But then she smiles and says that maybe, with Ikoma by her side, she can grow up a little. Ikoma watches all of this and privately thinks she's a good kid. Just talks a lot. He extends his hand and tells her simply, let's keep getting along. It's a small gesture, but for Aoi, it clearly means the world. A blonde guy from a guild called the Thunder Knights shows up trying to recruit Ikoma, but Aoi's old friend Aoi-chan also appears out of nowhere, wanting to patch things up and go dungeon crawling together. Things get noisy fast, so Aoi and Ikoma quietly slip out. But here's where it gets spicy. The chapter cuts to a completely new scene, deep inside a dark portal. A blonde girl in a flashy red outfit is sitting with armored bodyguards around her. Her name tag drops, Fujiwara Hoshinan, portal streamer. This girl has 1 million views a month. She live streams dungeon runs for clout. And right now, she's staring at her phone, watching the viral video about the mysterious new adventurer who caught the serial killer. Ikoma's story. It's pulling more views than her latest content, and she does not look happy about it. So now, there's a content creator with bodyguards and a bruised ego who just put a target on. Ikoma's back not because he's a threat, but because he's trending. That is a problem Ikoma did not see coming. Thank you for watching. Do you like my video? Subscribe for more videos.